Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MKX edition of the Pro League Report. My name is Dustin Kane, and joining me as always is Evan Hashimoto. We are halfway through Season 3 of the ESL MKX Pro League, and we have quite a few topics to talk about, Chef.
Yes, we do. We've got some people missing. We've got some people doing better than we expected. Quite a few things. What do you think, Josh?
Gentlemen, it's been a great season so far. Let's take a look at the standings and see where we're at after Week 4. Sonic Fox, not surprising us, was 305 points up top, followed by UA Scar, a classic matchup that we've seen ever since the end of Season 2. After that, we got Noble Beyond Toxin, who's been impressing us ever since Week 4, especially with his Ermac. CR Dragon Red Raptor, CR Wound Cowboy, and Noble Jupiter, plus CR Biohazard round out the top 8. Then we got Yomi RM Saltface, MF Slayer, and DJT, and Game Time with that 12th spot. It's still anybody's game halfway through the season, but I'm noticing we're missing some very significant players.
Well, it looks like we're missing Perfect Legend, who is one of our biggest finalists.
Yeah.
He's a two-time finalist, Season 1 and Season 2. Surprisingly enough, we haven't seen him in a single top 8 this season.
Yeah, I mean, Pig of the Hut is another perfect example of a player that has been here in the past in Season 1 and 2 in the finals and is no longer here now. And I believe also Crawling Shadow, who was a season finalist in Season 1 and 2.
Yep, double finalist, and another one who is, of course, one of your favorites, Noble Dab.
Dab is by far one of my favorite players, and he was here last season, barely got closed out in Season 1. He didn't make the finals then, but he was a huge crowd favorite as well with his beautiful flowing locks of hair in Season 2. That goes to show you how much of a different season this is, with PS4 being the main console, with the new netcode being incredible, and with almost 400 entrants, if not more, we've had in the recent weeks.
And within that challenge, we've seen a few people rise up to meet it.
Yes.
A few players that we didn't see do well in previous seasons, or we've seen do well, but are doing way, way, way better this season.
Beyond Toxin needs to be spoken about here. Beyond Toxin is absolutely stepped up his game 100%. I mean, he's always been fairly consistent, but he's made top 8 3 of the 4 weeks.
A really great showing by him. We've also seen Saltface with his Melina with many variations.
That's a heartbreaking subject. I'm sorry, continue, but that's a heartbreaking subject.
It is, but it's very nice to see him in top 8 so many times. He's been in the top 8, I believe, 3 weeks in a row now, which guarantees him a pretty good amount of points. It's really nice to see him using a character that we didn't see too much at all in Season 1 and 2.
And then, of course, we also have, as far as surprises, and just one of your favorites now, Red Raptor.
Oh, yeah.
The Shirai Ryu Takeda player who has been an explosive force in the Pro League so far of Season 3.
We've seen a variety of variations and character choices so far this season, but what are some of the most variations we've seen out of our players so far, gentlemen?
I think overall, I mean, even in the EU side of things now that we've seen is Demolition Sonya is kind of a thing now. Scar definitely brought it to the forefront. And now we're seeing a lot of players really start to utilize Demolition.
We're seeing a lot of Demolition, and we're seeing a lot of Jackie.
An explosion of Jackie players, and we got to see some high tech, we got to see some cancels. We've seen Sonic Fox using Shotgun, which was like, where did that come from?
And winning with 3-0 with her. So.
Yeah, that's also the beautiful thing about the Pro League, having 400 different players, 500 different players, 600 different players, is we get to see a lot of variations that we normally never thought that we would see. And a lot of that goes to the Challenger Cup, which we witnessed today, with seeing a Warrior Predator. I mean, we were just talking about Warrior Predator. We're like, we'll never see that variation. Yeah, Sonic Fox picks it up. First match, Warrior Predator, he wins.
Yeah, and from their top seed nonetheless.
The beautiful thing, again, Josh, is the fact that we get to see so many different variations. Sure, we're going to see some Alien, we're going to see Acidic, we're going to see Tarkatan from mainly CR Sonic Fox and CR Dragon, but we even got to see some Conjurer from UA Scar, which was like completely unheard of. So variations very varied in this season, much more than other seasons, and it's a pleasure to watch.
So far, North America has been a fantastic season so far, but let's check in with the Europeans with Ketchup and Mustard to find out how that side of the world is competing in Mortal Kombat X.
How's it going, guys? We are Ketchup and Mustard, and we're here to talk to you guys about some international Mortal Kombat X. There's a couple of little dynamics going on right now, which have been here since the beginning of Season 3. The big changer, one of the big changes of the league, is that CIS and EU are now merged into one league. What does that mean? It basically means that these guys will play at the same time. They're going to play against each other, which gives us a diverse tournament every single week and an even more diverse top 8. We've seen the CIS players such as Sakron, Arzu, Flet, Harry Nightmare going head to head with Europe's best every single week. Week 1 saw a lot of CIS players, I think 6 out of the 8 being in that top 8, and a very, very CIS dominant top 4. And now Foxy and Madsen have kind of made their return. It's a mixture of both. Sacron is still doing extremely well. Players like Vladdy7R is doing extremely well as well. And there's a lot of consistency throughout across both regions. This is the exact kind of gameplay that I think everyone wanted to see, though. I mean, it was a matter of, is CIS going to be dominant? Is EU going to be dominant? But what we're seeing week after week so far, and I personally believe this will continue until that very end on the 8th week. Now, one really big change is the change in the shift to PlayStation 4. Whereas obviously Season 1 and 2 we did on Xbox, we did it on PS4, and we have seen just the numbers alone have been incredible, especially for Europe. And you've just got to look at the brackets on the way to see just how difficult and tough it is to actually make the top 8. And these players are having to do that week after week. You can imagine the pressure that is getting put on to the players that don't have enough points yet to qualify. We have so many different countries that are represented. I believe it was week 3, every single participant was from a different country. And that's something we just aren't used to really seeing in the EU League. Every single top player on the planet is entering these tournaments, which is going to make it extremely difficult for players to earn those points. But there's the key word, earn. These guys are going to have to earn their spot at the Season 3 finals. Before we let you guys go, let's talk a little bit about the current leaderboard placings we've got for EU. It's cutthroat right now. It's so close together. Obviously, Foxy and Sacron, especially as a 2, have, I'm going to say at this point, comfortably secured themselves a spot in the finals. Madsen's looking good for it too, so is Vladdy7R. But the other spots are really kind of up in the air. Who do you really see taking these final positions? We've got Yupe, we've got Irish Mantis, we have Boki's doing well for himself, Storm is doing well for himself. This is the situation that the players find themselves in, where one first or second place point will comfortably put them into that leaderboard section, as you just said. However, they're going to have to beat Sacron to do it. They're going to have to beat Foxy to do it. They're going to have to beat Madsen to do it. These top players currently that are proving very, very difficult to break into in the leaderboard, where if you manage to bag one of those placements, you earn it massively. Alright, thanks very much guys for giving us your time. Hopefully it helps to have a little bit of an insight of the mind of the International Mortal Kombat X community. We'll see some of you guys at the end of the Season 3 finals. Keep watching and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you, Ryan and Jake. Congratulations to all the winners of the Challenger Cup in Europe and CIS. We expanded into Latin America for our first ever Challenger Cup. Gentlemen, how was the series?
Honestly, I want to start off by saying it's absolutely wonderful having LATAM.
Yeah, and we got to see some really, really great players that we normally don't get to see. Of course, Conqueror winning the entire cup this week with Imposter
Your
Shinnok.
favorite character.
Oh yeah, my favorite character of all time. But we did get to see actually one of my favorite characters with C88 Faster, who used Shirai Ryu, got second place. Extremely good matches between the two of them. And then, of course, we cannot forget Shamans, who used all variations of Predator.
Boom, he wins the first match with Warrior. I mean, that was really neat for me to not only see a new variation that we didn't see, but also a new region that we never really get to see.
Of course, we can't forget BM Dante, who played Flame Fist Liu Kang for most of the tournament. Had some extremely good plays, especially against
The
Shamans.
comebacks. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, and that damage.
Speaking of Challenger Cup finals, we also had the NA side of the Challenger Cup. It was a pretty big comeback. I mean, CR Dragon, who had been a player who had won pretty much every single Challenger Cup before that, faced off first round against Dr. Stabs. Dr. Stabs actually put him into the losers bracket. And then we had Red Raptor, who is a Pro League, I'd say veteran at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, for Season 3.
He was competing himself and just narrowly lost to CR Dragon.
He almost eliminated him within the second round of losers, so that was a really good showing by him. We got to see him not only use his signature Takeda, but he pulled out a Marksman Aaron Black.
Which he played absolutely incredibly, I might add. Really different flavor.
But congratulations to all of our competitors because they were really great finals, and like I said, I cannot wait for next month.
Welcome to the Player Profile, where we go more in-depth with some of the top players in the Mortal Kombat X scene. Today's guest is Ryan Walker, aka CR's Dragon, who has been dominating the Challenger Cup and recently the Pro League, taking 7 ESL events in a row. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, first of all, what was your history in competition before ESL or before Mortal Kombat X even was released?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat X is actually my first competitive fighting game. I've actually been playing fighting games for a while, and I realized, hey, I see there's, a scene, and I want to be a part of it and compete with the top players and see how well I can do. My first tournament was actually Summer Jam, and I did pretty well there. I got 13th. I actually beat CR Honeybee. I wasn't CR at the time. No one knew me, and I was actually still an STB at the time. After that, I just kept going to tournaments. I got hooked on it. It was so fun, playing the top players, competing in tournaments. That adrenaline rush you get when you compete in tournaments it's amazing. It's nothing like it. You have to experience it for yourself.
I can agree there, for sure. Seeing that adrenaline and that excitement, not just for the players, but the live audience or even an online audience is pretty fantastic.
Definitely.
What was the process for you to decide to compete in the Pro League and the Challenger Cup for ESL?
I've heard about ESL in other games, actually. You guys do a whole bunch of different games, and I saw the trailer for the ESL for this season, and it was for $500,000 up for grabs. I was like, I gotta compete for that. I mean, if it's free, I gotta sign up, I gotta play, I gotta compete, see how I do, and that's how it all started.
Right now, can you tell us what your weekly schedule is like as you train and compete, not just in the Pro League on Sundays, but also in the Challenger Cups, if you're able to make it on Saturdays as well?
After I get up and I do school until 1, I go on my PS4, I look at my friends list, I see who's on there, who plays certain characters that I need help with the matchups, and I just grind games with them. I actually have a little matchup chart just so I know where I am and what players to play to really get the best benefit out of me playing.
As a competitor, what are your goals, and how does your team, Critical Reaction, help you accomplish these goals?
My goals pretty much as a player is, number one always, is to have fun. If you're not having fun, then, why are you playing? When I got picked up by Critical Reaction, it was definitely a lot easier to reach those goals much faster because there are so many good players on CR. So that really helps for me leveling up. It helps the leveling up process, definitely.
Do you have any advice for others that maybe want to compete in the future or have been watching your play to try to get better at Mortal Kombat X or fighting games in general?
Honestly, just do it. Don't be like, well, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I'm scared to go, or whatever like that. You don't want to do that. Just go, have fun. Meet your friends there, people talk to people, learn things. That's the main thing about going to tournaments or even playing in ESL is just learning something from your playing if you want to get better.
Great advice. Ryan Walker, Critical Reactions Dragon, thanks for your time and best of luck in the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Man, I always love watching the interviews with CR Dragon. He always gives really good answers. Fortunately enough, we've been able to see him 3 times, and I enjoy every single one.
Very intelligent kid, very strong player. And speaking about how you can improve, I can't believe I'm doing this, but Mr. Hashimoto, you do actually have... Oh, man. All right, fine. You create good content. You have a good channel. You really do break down characters better than a lot of people that I know.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm surprised you would say that. But also, another great channel is the one from our friends Ketchup and Mustard, and they do have a new video series that you guys can check out. It's called Master of Combat.
Frame data is a crucial part of learning Mortal Kombat X at high level. It consists of all the important information for every attack in the game and can be accessed by selecting Move List in the Pause menu. Let's look at some of the key elements of frame data that every player should learn to better understand their character's strengths and weaknesses, using Scorpion as a clear example. Breaking down frame data is a matter of simple numbers. The game runs at 60 frames per second, so the amount of frames it takes for an attack to execute or recover is dictated by the amount of frames stated in the command list. The startup frames indicate how fast an attack takes to come out, the block advantage means how vulnerable you are after an attack is blocked, the recovery frames will show you how vulnerable you are after a move misses the opponent, and the hit advantage indicates how many frames you can move after the opponent is hit with the attack. The startup frames display how many frames it takes for an attack to become active. Scorpion's standing 1 is 9 frames, which means that this attack takes 9 frames from the moment the button was pressed until it can connect with the opponent to deal damage. When slowed down, you can see each step of the attack's animation played frame by frame. Only on the 9th frame does the attack register any damage to the opponent. Scorpion's teleport is -23 on block, which means that after the teleport is blocked, he's vulnerable for 23 frames before he can block once more. Sub-Zero can use his back 1 as his go-to punish for many attacks in the game, as it leads to his back 1-2 freeze string. But how can we tell if the string will punish the teleport? Look at the very first hit of your combo string in the command list. In this case, it's Sub-Zero's back 1. Look at the startup frames of the back 1. As you can see, it's 11 frames. As Scorpion's teleport takes 23 frames to recover on block, Sub-Zero's back 1-2 will comfortably punish Scorpion's teleport, as your 11 frames is much faster than his 23 frames. Scorpion's teleport is +18 on hit. How can we tell if a move is negative or plus? Look to the left of the number listed. The minus symbol means that a move is minus, and the lack of a minus symbol means that a move is plus. This means that for 18 frames, Scorpion can move before the opponent can after his teleport connects, allowing you to enforce your mix-ups with an attack that starts up faster than 18 frames, like your forward 2, which starts up in 17 frames, or your back 3, which starts up in 11 frames. When timed correctly, the opponent can do nothing to prevent you from going for these mix-ups after a teleport hits, as they're stuck for 18 frames while you enforce these options. Finally, let's take a look at recovery frames. This mainly applies to when an attack whiffs against the opponent. You're vulnerable for a certain amount of frames while the attack animation finishes, so during this time, the opponent may be able to attack you if your attack has a large amount of recovery frames. Scorpion's teleport has 30 recovery frames, which means he's actually more punishable if the move misses entirely than if you block it. Take these things into account and plan your advances carefully when planning your next attack. Frame data will always be an important element to any fighting game. The fact MKX gives you this data in-game means that all of the crucial information that you need is right at your fingertips. Now that you have more of an understanding on how frame data is best put to use, we'll see you all on the battlefield, and don't forget to tune in to the MKX Pro League presented by ESL.
Stay tuned for more Mortal Kombat X Pro League action by following us on Twitter at ESL Mortal Kombat and Facebook.com/ESL Mortal Kombat. Plus, catch all the VODs at YouTube.com/ESLTV. If you want to compete, sign up at ProLeague.com/MKX. Thanks for tuning in to this Mortal Kombat X edition of the Pro League Report. We'll catch you next time.